Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Bitcoin white paper. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
And we're live.
That's awesome, dude.
Yes, mate.
Oh.
Yo, that
It's
is
Halloween. Hit the like and
That's
subscribe
sweet.
button or
Like
get out.
Like it. Like it.
DeFi is a scary place. You can lose all your money, but you can also have a lot of fun.
sick. I thought you were singing happy birthday because it's the PP first birthday today. We launched 1 year ago today.
No
That's
way.
awesome.
Yeah. Did that coincide with the Bitcoin white paper? Really?
October 31st.
Dude,
15 years old.
my dog,
It's a sign.
our new dog, his first birthday is today. Kevin, I'll bring him out later.
What?
Yeah,
That's
his
a lot of
birthday's on
birthdays
Halloween.
today.
That's a lot of
I
birthdays.
was singing
man.
happy birthday to everybody.
Yeah, right? Dude, I feel out of place. I don't have my hat and my sunglasses. I look like I just got off the combine out in the fields, tilling some corn or something.
Well, we got our special guest today, Hexy Bastard, founder of a whole shitload of stuff.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if you thought that this would be a friendly interview, but we brought you on here to ask you some tough questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Who had the funniest sacrifice in the history of DeFi?
Me.
Who had the smallest sacrifice in the history of poor pleb?
You. What did you do? 1 heart, was it? Which was
1/100 millionth of a hex. For those of you keeping track of what a heart is.
That's awesome, dude. I didn't
That's
know that.
right. Yeah.
Love that shit. That was funny. I mean, I seen that as an endorsement. In all honesty, I was like, yeah, Matty's endorsing us. It's game over, man. We're gonna make millions.
Who doesn't want to have fun?
Dude,
I mean, how much did the gas fee cost you for that? It must have been like $6 or something.
Yeah, it was.
that's hilarious.
So I'm gonna need like a 100,000x, sir. When 100,000x.
So you can sell it for 1 hex.
Yeah, actually, I don't even think that would help.
right, with the gas.
I think I'd still be down bad on that. I'm gonna make it back in one trade though.
There you go.
Did you get your free claim though, or were you not quite poor enough of a pleb to get one?
Oh yeah, multiple wallets.
Oh yeah.
Mobile wallets. Ooh, so
It's
you're
like
a
$10.
whale.
Yeah.
$10. Let's go. No, good shit, man. So
Yeah,
as tough as these questions are going to come, because that was pretty easy so far.
Well, look, the correct answer was the God Whale had the funniest sacrifice because he sacrificed Bank X and not 9-inch.
I know. I mean, dude, come on, man. He must have known about it. Like 9-inch. Maybe he didn't know about PP, but he must have known about 9-inch. Like everyone knew about 9-inch, man. $16 million at the bottom of a bear market. Like seriously, that's crazy, man. Where did all the money come from? I don't get it.
I was gonna ask you that because look, I've seen you on these other shows, and Game Theory Gang, we're going at an earlier time today because I want to enjoy Halloween. But we always have great guests, and you're our special guest this week because you got the most stuff going on. When I actually looked into when I did my own research, I thought it was brilliant how you said that you started the poor pleb sacrifice as a joke, and it turned into a $1.4 million sacrifice. And then you just like leaned into it and did 9-inch, which was a 16.5 million sacrifice. And so, I want to hear what your reaction is to that numbers, and then talk about what it means for the future of memes.
Well, I mean, I knew that the 9-inch sacrifice would do quite well because we were hitting such a good demographic and it had serious product market fit. Also, the Pulse chain had just been launched, so people felt rich again. So that kind of helped, I guess. But the poor pleb sacrifice is the one that really shocked me because I had a number in my head of how much we needed to make it work, and it was something around $80,000. I was like, if we can just make $80,000, then I know that we can actually have a go with this, and we'll have adequate liquidity and things. Obviously, you're not supposed to have expectations, but I can kind of talk about that now. We needed enough for liquidity. We needed enough to pay devs and get the audits done and things like that. So my number was $80,000, and I was just like praying, like, please, can we just get this $80,000? That's all we need. I don't even care about like making any money myself or anything like that. That was never the point. It was just a joke, but it became quite serious as I started seeing. I thought no one would sacrifice for it at first, and then I started seeing money coming in, and I was like, oh shit. But it was really slow. So in the first 2 or 3 weeks, although a lot of people knew about it, we'd maybe only done $30,000 or $40,000, something like that. And at some point it just pivoted and it started rolling in like crazy. And I remember when we hit, I think it was like $180,000. That's when Moomin Man, my partner, kind of shook me, and he was like, mate, this is getting beyond like what we can even comprehend. And that was about, we did a 69-day sacrifice period, I think it was, and this was maybe 4 weeks in. So kind of coming up to the end of it. And then in the last 2 weeks or so, it just exploded. And I mean, I have to shout out to everyone who kind of helped us promote it. And I think a lot of the reason that did so well was just the FOMO, because people would look at it at first and be like, I said he'd done $20,000. Don't care. It's stupid anyway. But then as the numbers started going up, more people were like, shit, I don't want to miss out on this. It could actually do quite well. Because of the demographic we were targeting, like all the meme coin guys. You never know. Like sometimes these things just pop off. And by the end of it, there was a guy who did like nearly 400K on his own, just randomly. I was just, obviously I'm checking the sacrifice wallet like all the time, and then randomly seeing like 400,000 USDC get planted in there. And I just exploded with, I was like,
was that you, Toby? You're muted, but I'm going to take that as a yes. Still muted.
There he is. No comment.
All right, nice. So okay, so here's the question I have is how much of the 16.5 million was poor pleb tokens? Like, was there an OA situation happening? Because for Pulse Chain and Pulse X, you could have said that was a combined, what was it, 1.7 billion, or you could have said it was like 50 billion.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a good chunk of it was Poor Pleb and Pulse Doge as well, the original Pulse Doge coin, because they're the co-founders. So it's myself, Poor Pleb team, and then the Pulse Doge guys that kind of combined together our effort to make this happen. I will get you a number on that actually, because I'm curious I couldn't tell you the dollar value at the time, but I can certainly tell you what the dollar value is now, because it appears that all the PP and Pulse Doge that have gone into that address have just simply sat there and done nothing. And something tells me that might be the way that it ends up going in the future, but who knows? I will go on Fatty right now and have a look.
I think that could be classified as big dick energy.
We didn't say this would be a family-friendly show today.
It's never a family-friendly show if you see my face on the thumbnail. It's never going to be. I nearly got Crypto Coffee cancelled the other day, I think.
That's hilarious. That's why I was stoked, because it's like I'm not like the potty mouth. It's like I got someone else that could like bring it on that level.
You would be hard pressed to beat me in the art of being a potty mouth.
we need to go on with ATX and Westcott, and then we can really let it all fly.
I don't think they like me, dude.
So
what? I'll bridge that gap.
I don't think they like me, man.
We'll talk later. I'll talk to him.
So I'll throw this out there at the risk of shilling my own shit for once.
What?
We designed Time Pays Me we designed the fee of only 0.1% to be attractive to founders and whales and people who want to build trust in their own communities. And so I was just talking to somebody yesterday who is a whale in a certain coin that a lot of Hexicans hold, and they are planning in the next day or two to lock almost their entire supply of tokens in Time Pays Me on like a drip. And so that actually creates cool tokenomics. And so, yeah, anybody like Hexy Bastard or anybody else that's out there that wants to like add more certainty to the mix, if you're not going to sell the tokens, you might as well, you know, some people would want to prove it by, you know, because
in the smart contract for like 1 million years. Or so. What's the maximum time you can do it for?
That makes people more bullish and want to buy. And then if you have more buyers, then it's good for everybody. It's the maximum is 55 years. The minimum is a week, and you can have it as a drip. So, you know, you can chart out what percentage of the supply would drip back to you. In some cases, like the OA or anybody, like could still be a mega whale, could still be a Poseidon, even if they're dripping back to themselves over time. So. Yeah, I'll just throw that out there.
Interesting idea.
Yeah,
I'll speak to the homeless person that looks after the wallets and see what he wants to do.
Oh, dude, that's the best.
Do you know? I just had a quick look. So it appears something in the region of just over $1 million worth of PP and PLD is sat in that wallet at the moment. So yeah, so out of the 16.5 million, I mean, the value might have changed a little, but yeah, about $1 million. That's it.
Oh, wow! I thought you said
just a million. Nothing, just a quick million.
What I'm saying is the OA controls like 95% of the supply. So if somebody else launched a token, such as yourself or the homeless guy or whoever it was, and you know, and the community owns 95% or 90%, then I think that's a big difference. So
yeah,
kudos.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it is a good way of doing things if you're going to lock it up for. It's kind of like locking liquidity, I suppose, as well. Like prevents rug risk and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's not a bad idea, man. I'll definitely have a word with the guy. I'll have to go kick his bin and wake him up later on after the stream. He usually sleeps during the day and then wakes up at night and goes hunting for pussy.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So. You guys have some pretty attractive yield farms going on, and I don't know if Tobiwan has some expertise in that department, but
I dabble in some farms. I do a little farming. That was my farm. You didn't understand, Maddie, earlier when I had my hat on and that
you're a farmer.
And the whole thing.
I'm a
farmer. Now you get it.
I almost rage quit crypto every single day because I'm poor and everybody around me is getting rich. Okay, so if you guys just want to explain to me how yield farming works to where I can be rich like you guys, please. Please, right. ChrispyMan.
Hey, Crispy's in the house. I just texted you, bro. I'm like, where's he at?
I'm back.
Hey, Hexy, I think third time's a charm. We had Gerardo on, we had Walrus on, and I had to admit that I knew very, very little about what they were doing, even though I had sacrificed for both of those things. And here we are, strike three.
Yeah, made the show look bad.
No. Here's the thing. It's like, actually, I had a fair amount of people that messaged me after both those streams, and they're like, dude, I'm so glad you asked like the dumb guy question, because we came in knowing nothing. And it's like, when there's streams, it's like, and coffee's great, but there's sometimes I send people to coffee, and they're confused because he uses so much of the jargon and the lingo, and he just knows it. So like if you know the language, coffee is amazing. But if you're brand new and you're learning from square one, it's like you're like, wait, what? And you get lost, right? So it's kind of, I'm happy to take the licks as like the dummy of the Quattro here, and so could you explain, because it's your platform, like how your single-sided liquidity thing is going to work? How your farming's working? Just like talk to me like I'm a 3-year-old. I think it helps the audience. That's what I would be happy with.
Let me just throw an overview here, because I think we're going to want to touch on single-sided staking, liquidity farming, and limit orders, and because those are all three really cool things that people can do with your platform. So go ahead.
Cool. So the best way to explain this, first of all, in terms of the farming and the pools, is the fact that explain how the BBC token works. So BBC token is basically a fork of Cake token. If any of you guys have ever used PancakeSwap before, you get your rewards in the Cake token. Now, BBC, like Cake, inflates every single block. just constantly. We inflated the rate of 10 per block. So on Pulse Chain, its inflation is a little bit quicker than Ethereum, just purely because Pulse Chain is slightly faster. I think it's 2 seconds per block faster. So what happens with this is that when we basically allocate where the BBC emissions go. So right now we've got a system where 10% of the emissions are going to go into all of the single-sided staking pools, and then 90% is going to go into all of the liquidity farms. And the way that you determine that is we allocate emissions, so it can be like 0.1 BBC per block to this farm, 0.1 to this farm, or it could be 3 to this farm, or whatever, right? And that basically determines the amount of emissions that come via that farm. Single-sided staking is essentially you just put your coins in there and then you earn yield for locking them up. Now, we do flexible as well, but if you want to make real money, you have to lock it up, and you can lock up for up to a year on there. It's a pretty straightforward system. There's a pool, and at the moment we've got 2. So we've got 9-inch rewards and 9-inch pool and BBC pool. Both of them pay. Everything that we give in yield is paid in the BBC token. And there is, say, like it's 50-50 at the moment on those 2. So at the beginning, if you're the first guy in, you can go in with literally $1 and you will get 100% of the rewards available for that pool straight away. But as more people come in, it's determined by your share of the pool. So if you've got 1% of the pool, you'll get 1% of the emissions. So that's why yield farming is so powerful, certainly at the beginning when new farms come out, because you can jump in. We launched a few new farms yesterday, and the minute they came out, they were on millions of percent APR. And then very quickly they went down to, 20,000%. And right now they're sitting at, 5,000% APR, which is, even that is mind boggling. But the fact that you can get in there for 10 minutes and be making a million percent APR, even if it's just for 1 minute, that's a lot. it's quite a lot.
So I'm supposed to put in $1?
If you're the first guy in there, you could put $1 in, but as soon as someone comes in with $100, you only get $1.
Start
$1. But that's how it works. Is the emissions are basically spread based upon whatever it is, whether it's a farm liquidity pool, something like that. Now, of course, we want to incentivize liquidity providing more than single-sided staking. Single-sided staking is good for our tokens, so 9-inch BBC, Poor Pleb, Pulse Doge, and Where Did the ETH Go? Waheth, which was a free airdrop that we gave to 9-inch holders, but I'll get to that later because that's just hit an all-time high today. So killing it on that one. Now, 90% is going to the LP farms. The way that the LP farms work is you have to provide liquidity on the platform first, and then you stake the liquidity in the LP farm. When you stake the liquidity, go ahead.
I have a question. Okay. Did I just hear you say Waheth? Is that okay? Is that like a little homage to Stewie from Family Guy with the cool?
No, it actually wasn't, but yeah, I see what you mean.
That's funny. All right, go ahead. Sorry, please.
Yeah. So you have to provide LP on the platform. Obviously, you get LP fees for that anyway. But on top of that, if you stake the LP in one of the farms, then you, based on your position, your percentage of the farms, you get X amount of emissions. And that's how the APR is calculated. It's the price of the BBC. Based on you getting that for an entire year, that's what your APR would be. So being early on yield farms is extremely powerful. And this is why PancakeSwap popped off so hard about 3 years ago, because all the degens were just piling into these new farms as soon as they arrived, which created a lot of buy pressure for the tokens that were listed. We've monetized that by making 9-inch a DAO token where you can vote for farms. So every month when we refresh the farms and we apply new ones, no one's going to know what they are until they appear. People are going to be aping into the new tokens to go and get them on the farm, because at the beginning it's going to be millions upon millions of percent APR until the farms fill out. So yeah, that's generally how it's worked. That's like a simple explanation about how yield farming works in general. What I will say about the single-sided staking, in fact, what I'll say about the BBC token, because a lot of people come at me and they say, well, how does the BBC token retain any value? Well, number one, the BBC token does not have to go up in value, because the amount of yield that you're making on that way outweighs any price performance. You shouldn't even be looking at it as a price performance coin. But we have got pumpermentals built in around that as well, because the majority of the rewards that we make available on the platform in total are going to the BBC side of things. So on the single-sided staking, the BBC token single-sided staking is probably...
What does that stand for?
Big bonus coin, of course, sir.
Okay.
Big bonus coin.
Got it.
Yeah.
Say it slowly. Big bonus.
Yeah. So 50% of the emissions are going to the big boat. This is how we've set it out at the moment. We might play with these numbers later, depending on how things perform, because we can change these numbers at any time. So the big bonus coin is going to be getting 50% of the total yield on single-sided staking, but there's at least another 5 or 6 things that are going to have single-sided staking. So they're getting a share of the other 50%. Big bonus coin is also the only coin that it basically goes around on itself. It's compounding interest. So as you're making yield, it goes back to your principal, and it basically increases your principal the whole time. So you don't have to harvest it or anything. It's just constantly getting added back to the stake. So your principal amount gets bigger, which means you're making interest on a larger amount the longer you leave it in there. Which is incredibly big.
Auto. It's like an auto. It's not. I guess it's staking. Auto compounding. Yeah. Like basically, because it's like that's the thing that would be great with Ink. Because I'm having to go in there pretty frequently and like rolling that back in, but you can't do single sided, so it's like it makes it more complicated. So it's like I got to pull some Pulse, I got to pull some Ink, put it in my farm. So that's
I think when PulseX brings single-sided staking out for Ink, if they ever decide to do that, that will really help the Ink price, because that's the only reason that like PancakeSwap went up 40x, and this is a token that inflates at a rate of like 85,000 per day, if not more. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it's 10 per block, so it's like 1 per second. How many seconds is there in a day, guys? Like let me figure this out. So 60 times 60 times 24. Fucking hell, I can't even do math. 60.
It's a lot of seconds.
Times 60 times 24. Yeah, 86,400 seconds in a day, and that's what it will be on Ethereum, or is it Pulse Chain? I don't know, but you get what I mean. It's a big number. It's a lot of inflation. It's inflating like crazy every single day. So the only reason that Cake went up 40x in a bull market is purely because, well, there's 2 reasons. Number one, it was tied very, very thick liquidity to the BNB token, which means that if BNB is going up, Cake's coming up with it, at least to a degree. Secondly, because they offered the best rewards available on the platform for the Cake token, when people got it, they didn't dump it, they staked it, or they added liquidity to it, or they did something with it to get more tokens. You can lock this up for 52 weeks. So very similarly to Hex, you can, if someone was so obliged, they could go and buy BBC on the market and lock it up for 52 weeks, and they would make a killer return on that, even if the price didn't go up. So imagine if the price went up as well, which it could do. It could go down, but it almost doesn't matter. Like the price could go down 90%, and you'll still make a ton of profit by the end of the year, even if it goes down 90%, because the amount of yield that you're making on it is just going to be nuts. Now, obviously, as more people join the farms, the yield goes down. But if you can get in at a starting rate of like, I don't know, 10,000% APY, and then it gradually goes down to like 400, 500%, you're still going to make a ton of money during that time. So that's essentially the tokenomics behind BBC, and why we get compared to Ink a lot. And yes, we are the same as Ink, but we've actually got some fundamentals about our token at the moment. Now, Richard might roll these out in future, and I hope he does, because I have Ink. I have Ink tokens, and I don't want to sell them, because at one point I seen them at $20, and now they're at like $1. And I'm like, I can't sell them for $1 when I just see them at 20. You know, it's just something in my head won't let me do it. So yeah, that's basically what it is. And all of these features that we've got on here, Richard probably is going to introduce them later, but he won't be going after the meme coin crowd. And that's the degen crowd. They're the guys that like the farming. They are like the PancakeSwap crowd, Sushi Swap crowd, whatever. They're the guys that like going degen, full degen mode. And you can tell if you go in our Telegram chat and just have a look at the people that are speaking in there, that will assure you that these guys ain't hexagons, man. I can promise you that. They're not informed enough.
So Ink, most people don't know this. Ink has YAMS governance built into it.
I don't even know that.
I heard
but,
that.
But BBC, does that have, because you said people can vote, is that part of it? Is that how the voting works?
So the DAO, yeah. So the BBC isn't a DAO token at the moment. It's the 9-inch token that is the DAO token.
Got it.
Yeah. But the way that we have to do the yield and we split up the farms and everything later, that's done via like our devs. The voting is going to be done with the 9-inch token. They're going to have a look at those votes, and then they're basically just going to set the ratios based upon the percentage of votes for each token. So that's how that works. There's no way to automatically do that without causing potential problems in the future, because if you make that you make that run automatically, then problems can happen. So we're going to observe it, but it is a decentralized platform in the sense that we will honor the votes, providing, I don't know, some like Chinese company doesn't come along and start buying up all I mean, we'd all be happy if they bought up all the tokens, right? But like if they started using it to just get farms on rug pulls and stuff like that have no volume or anything, then yeah, maybe we could step in and stop it from happening somehow. But that's also why we have an OA in 9inch as well. Now that OA, obviously I can't say what that OA is going to do, but it is there for protecting the system. It's got more than 50% of the supply. So in theory, as a DAO token, it could overrule any nasty behavior that might incur later if needed. But I seriously doubt that's going to happen. We've got way too many holders, and we've got too many whales that I know are just not safe.
Does that stand for like the O face account or something? Is that a thing?
We should have done that. The O face account. Like,
God, that's funny.
I was
Maddie getting
so
salty.
I was wait for it, because I was tired of certain people on my show coming on, whether they're co-hosts or guests, not trying my protocol. Time pays me, so I decided to. I don't know, maybe ChrispyMan's tried it, but
I played around with it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Gerardo came on the other day, and he was
It's
like,
easy. I haven't.
He was like, "Tell me about what you built," and I was like, "The first guest, whoever showed interest in me." And so I want to pay that forward. So what I did before we came on here is I got my beak wet with the with the 9inch. And I threw, I guess, like $1,500 on there. I got some 9inch in USDC and put it into a pool or whatever it's called. I'm yield farming it, and I think it's paying me like $5 or $10 an hour.
Boom.
Something like
pretty
that.
Pretty good, eh?
Part-time job.
It's better than minimum wage.
Right,
$240 a day. If it does that for an entire year, that's 87 grand, mate. From a $1,500 investment, that's pretty damn good.
Well, that's not how it works, though.
It depends on the price fluctuations, and it depends on the yield.
Oh shit!
Down.
Yeah, if it 40x's, that'd be sweet.
If it 40x's, it'll be worth a lot more than that.
right.
Also, we're adding new farms all the time. So like that pool that you're in now, if it's the USDC pool, it's likely a lot of guys are going to rotate out of that when the new farms launch. So that yield might well go back up. I mean, right now it's sitting at 4,000% APY. It might well shoot up to 8,000 again for a period. And then every month when we add new farms, people are going to rotate their farms. That's the nature of the beast. So there's always going to be opportunity somewhere on the platform to make good yield. But by all means, just leaving it in one pool and just letting it accrue value. And also don't forget, if the 9inch token goes up during this time, you're going to get paid dollars the whole way up. So at any point you can just remove that liquidity and then you get more dollars. And then likewise, if 9inch goes down, then you get more 9inch and you can just pull that liquidity and then you got more 9inch to play with. So like the Uniswap V2 liquidity is a really, really powerful tool for DCAing in and DCAing out of things. I think people overlook that. They're always looking at charts and thinking like, where should I go? And I mean, you should do that. But also, if you've just got some of your stack in an LP position and you just leave it there, and then when you see that the chart's mooned, you can remove that and you've been paid the entire way up and you've got your fees and you've got your harvests as well. So you can make a hell of a lot of money just by putting an LP position in and forgetting that you've even got it there. Come back in a year when the bull market's in full effect, and then you look at it and you're like, damn, I put $1,500 in here. It's worth 85 grand now, and I've got like 300 grand's worth of harvests that I can sell, and I've accrued all these fees the entire time as well. It's an amazing tool. Now I don't know if that will work out, swimmingly for everyone. I'm sure there's going to be a few rug pulls that end up on the platform because it's decentralized. People can vote it in, but I would say it's a bit of a vote of confidence if the founders of these projects have gone through the effort of buying 9inch tokens so that they can then vote for the farms. I think that's like a lot more effort than most of these rug pull guys tend to go through. So yeah.
Let's hear from ChrispyMan. We haven't gotten to him yet. Do you have any birthdays you're celebrating today? So we have Tobiwan's dog and PP token is a year old today, and Bitcoin white paper is 15 years.
I was going to say white paper. White
Okay.
paper for sure. Nah, no birthdays. Not unless you want to get into the occult. But
And
we talk about some things. I went ghost hunting last night. So
oh, cool, that's fun.
Tell us about that.
Spent a few hours in a haunted cemetery. You know, just walking around, collecting the vibes. You know, see what's going on. My wife has a one of these apps that records electromagnetic disturbances and translates it into words.
Yeah,
so that was interesting, and that was kind of fun. So.
He's preparing for Liquid Loan's haunted strategy, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Preparing for the haunted strategy. Good to go. Good to go. All right, that's birthdays. So I I've been I don't know if Hexy Bastard knows or not, but I've been playing with PP. Well, I shouldn't say it. Let me restate that. So I did like your original pitches, right? So I did put a very tiny amount in, right? So when I almost always wear my just the tip. I almost always wear my hat, my hex hat. But I liked what you were trying to do and the idea that you were trying to bring people to the Pulse chain and trying to bring all this together. So I did that. And so I have my poor pleb tokens, and I qualified for the airdrop. Woohoo!
Hey.
So that was great. I like that whole concept. It was good. So I've been doing that. So I've got those, and I've been watching the tokens on both chains. Not bad performance, right? So
we've held the value nicely. We've not really mooned or anything, but we haven't gone down. I think most people who sacrificed are up a little bit, but considering how much everything else went down around it, I think we've done pretty well, actually.
No, I think so too. And then of course, I hang around with Randy and his Patreon, Randy Hilarski. And so I was enticed to participate in 9-inch. So I did pick up a little tiny allocation. But again, guys, if I told you the numbers, you laugh. I'm talking about $100, man. I'm not talking about Maddie's a bigger whale than I am, right? So I only do little tiny smatterings because I'm so focused in one area. But in any case, I did that. I have it. I am now mining. Not mining. I'm farming, and I have single-sided staked to earn more of that big bonus coin. The big bonus coin. Right? So,
hey, in the chat, I just noticed someone was asking, is 9-inch a fork of Pancake Swap?
It is, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Just to clarify for that. I thought it was. I didn't want to answer incorrectly. And then if
I got another question here real quick about the price. So if I bought $500 of 9-inch today, how did I do compared to sacrificers? Did I get a better deal than sacrificers? Did I get a worse deal?
Depends which one. So 9-inch on Ethereum, I think that price is a little lower, so you probably can get a better deal on Ethereum. On Pulse chain, depends on the amount that you want to buy, right? So if you were a fairly big dude, then no, you probably can't get a better price. But if you were a little guy going in on 9-inch sacrifice, you probably can get a better price now, even on Pulse chain. But actually, to be fair, that's probably not even correct, because when you sacrificed, you got it on both chains. So the combined value of those two, the combined value of those two, I mean, honestly, you're only going to get a better price than maybe like the lowest 15-20% of the guys if you was to go and buy it on both chains. So actually,
that's still good. It's still ballpark.
Yeah, it's in and around that sacrifice rate, but it's definitely at the top end of it rather than being, really, really cheap. We started it quite cheap because we wanted the chart to basically look like a hockey stick. So we gave the early adopters a small opportunity to get in nice and cheap. But the price has been very stable. I mean, we're down on Pulse chain today like 20%, but it's still way higher than it was when, a couple of days ago. So yeah, I think the way that we've launched this, the mechanics behind that and the kind of game theory that we used to do that was basically spot on. I don't think we could have done it any better, really. We launched it at the same price as Pulse X on Pulse chain and Ethereum. So actually, if you think about it, like dollar value wise, it's done very well. It's done very well in comparison to Pulse X, which obviously, as we all know, like when Pulse X came out, it basically got dumped hard because everyone was rotating into Pulse chain and it hasn't quite recovered yet. I still think Pulse X will do very well in the long run, though. The amount of volume that's going through the DEX, it doesn't even really need buyers. It just needs the volume. So if the volume continues on Pulse X, then it's over time. I think over time, Pulse X will beat Pulse Chain. That might take 2 cycles, but I think it will overall beat the performance of Pulse Chain potentially, because it's got that built-in mechanic. So,
well, remember, this is crypto though too, right? So anything can happen.
That's also very true.
It can happen.
So the only thing, and this is not negative against any of the tokens or 9-inch, right? Very plausible that in the near future we see a 75% drop, right? I mean, things, and I'm not saying, it's not like I have no information to tell me that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying in crypto, like if I woke up tomorrow and it did a 75% drop, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if it doubles, right? I just say that. I know it's redundant. I know we all understand that. Everybody listening understands it. Well, sometimes we don't realize it, and then we get really freaked out when tomorrow the price is down, or up.
Rich is right, man. Dips are in the game. There's dips all the time. But as long as you've got product market fit and you've got a thriving community and you're constantly onboarding new people, you're probably going to escape those dips and go up a lot from them.
Well, let's pick on that a little bit, right? So I think you said keyword community, right? And nothing overcomes people's desire to dump, right? So the guys who are, let's take Richard's sage words. You want the price to be high, don't sell.
Yeah,
that's it, man. Don't sell. Don't sell Hex. The price will stay high. Right? So that's one of the things that's good about 9-inch, though, because people earn yield in a different token, and if they want to dump the yield, then they can. But why would they sell their like golden goose? That's the money printer. But I think people have this a little bit mixed up. So 9-inch is a money printer, but BBC is a money printer on steroids, because you will get much more bang for your buck by farming and staking the BBC token than you will with the 9-inch token. It basically goes in the order of BBC is the best, 9-inch is second best. Then you're going to have our other tokens, PPPLD and WETH, they're third best. And then basically everything else is after that, based upon votes, at least for this month anyway. That could change if people outvote PPPLD, whatever. But PPPLD and WETH are going to have permanent farms, so you can lock them up for an entire year if you want to, same as you can with BBC and 9-inch. They're the only ones that are going to be permanent farms. Other farms are going to rotate based upon volume and community and transactions, things like that. So we're deciding who gets single-sided staking, at least for the foreseeable future, because that's going to be a great onboarding tool that we can kind of, in a way, vampire attack communities, but it's in a very friendly way. It's like, I'm not going to suck blood out of your neck. I'm just going to nibble on it a little bit, because we're giving you an incentive to come and use the platform. You'll see on your single-sided staking, I can earn 200% APY, but then a little advertisement underneath it. You could be earning 20,000% APY if you just provide liquidity instead. And guess what they're all going to go do? They'll go and have a look at the liquidity page. The other thing that we're going to do to incentivize people buying the 9-inch token is when we do yield farms. Let's say we're doing one for Hex. Okay, good, easy example. We're doing a HEX liquidity farm on Ethereum side. We really, really strongly want to get all the Hex liquidity from Uniswap over to our platform, because we will just treat you better. Fuck Uniswap, they're garbage. Okay, so we want to get all the Hex liquidity over. So the way that we're going to incentivize that is by giving them a really, really, really good farm for the first month that we run. Now, the second month, it will depend on who votes for it. But for the first month, you can get a really good farm. Of the BBC emissions that are going to be made available for Hex on Ethereum, 10 or 15% of them are going to be going to the Hex versus ETH pool, but 85 to 90% of them are going to be going on the Hex versus 9-inch pool. So basically, there's a lot less people that own 9-inch. Only 5,000 people in the world own 9-inch at the moment, something around that number. Hardly anyone owns it. And we're
That's how many holders Hex had in the start.
Yeah, there you go. So at the beginning, when we launch a farm, there's going to be some yield available for the ETH pair, but there's going to be a lot more yield available on the 9-inch pair. So they're going to come in, they'll see that, I don't know, Hex has got 2,000, Hex versus ETH is like 2,000% APY. But then right next to it is the Hex 9-inch pair, and that's got 40,000% APY. And again, I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass. I don't know what they'll be, but they're going to see that. And then these guys might not own 9-inch, and they might decide, I'm going to go buy 9-inch so I can pair it with my hex. And this is relevant with every coin that we're going to do any farms for. If you vote for a token on our platform, this is how the farms are going to look. You're going to get one for versus ETH or Pulse, and then you can get one versus 9-inch. The 9-inch one's going to be heavily incentivized. So all these new people that come to our platform because they want to basically drain money out of it, they're probably going to end up buying our token so they can participate in the much higher yielding farm. And there's a few benefits to this, but the most obvious one is that we make the 9-inch liquidity super thick versus other pairs, which is fantastic, because if Hex moons, 9-inch is going up with it. If I don't know, Shiba Inu moons, 9-inch is going up with it. Pepe moons, 9-inch is going up with it. So we're just going to heavily incentivize people to not only buy the 9-inch token, but also to bond the liquidity with 9-inch. So we get to take advantage of all the monumental moves that happen in future. Now, something that we can do to change this as well in the future, if we want to, say if we think that the bear market's looming, it's the bull market's almost over. Look, bear times are coming. Guess what we do? We remove that incentive altogether, put it 50-50 against ETH and against USDC, or against Pulse and, I don't know, USDL, something like that. So half of the liquidity is bonded against stables instead, which means that people have an incentive now to go in versus stables, because then they can buy all the way down when the price goes down, so they can DCA all the way in for like a year and a half and get paid for the privilege of doing it. So we can adjust the way that we're doing this, but right now we're on the cusp of going into a bull market. I think having thick liquidity versus pairs that are probably going to go up in price might be quite clever, because we're going to go up on our own anyway, probably, maybe. But if we add that liquidity with ETH and make it thick against that, thick against Hex, thick against, anything that's going to potentially make a move, then that's going to start dragging us up as well. Also, the BBC price is going to be heavily connected with the 9-inch price. So if the 9-inch price goes up, then it's going to lift the BBC price up at least a bit. Maybe not to the extent the 9-inch might go up, but they're going to be bonded by the liquidity very thickly. So that's going to be one of the highest yielding farms, is the 9-inch BBC pair. So if the liquidity there is thick, it's going to take a lot for BBC to go down relative to 9-inch. So yeah. We have actually thought about this a lot.
Sounds like it. Hey, I got a question for you. I think so we don't need to dumb it down like too far. I think everyone here, people watching the stream.
Oh, we've lost you again. Can you guys hear him?
Me. No.
No, you've gone muted. You've gone muted.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. You're back now.
Am I there now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, weird. Yeah, all of a sudden I couldn't hear you guys either. Yeah, am I lagging?
Yeah,
a little. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm lagging, let me drop out and come back, because that's annoying.
Back to you, ChrispyMan. We have 220 people watching. Hit the like and subscribe. I don't know. Follow everybody else on the screen. We got their links in the description below. You can also get a Trezor, because you need to keep your shit safe.
Woohoo. Never used Trezor myself. I've got ledgers. They seem quite good.
Oh, dude.
They had that hack recently, didn't they, where they gave out everyone's information?
Yeah, fail.
Well, a few years ago.
Fail.
Yeah.
But I guess, everybody who got hacked got a letter from Hex and Pulse Chain. Did you know that?
Yeah, because you did a mail shot, didn't you? Or someone did a mail shot.
I didn't. But yeah,
yes.
Yeah, that added to the seeming scamminess of the Hex ecosystem. It's part of.
Do you know? I'm not gonna lie, right? Like if I knew that my ledger thing had been hacked, and then I start getting like spam mail from Hex, and like maybe I'm aware of Richard, and I think he's a scammer anyway, and then I see this, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro. That's why we had so many angry people on Twitter, like. Why the fuck is the Hex community? Richard Hart's sending me mail in the post. Fucking scammer. Like,
yeah. Welcome to DeFi. I don't even know if like Richard knew that was going to happen. It's like just the community. Some person was like, oh, this is a good idea. And we don't know. Maybe it was a good idea. I mean, maybe more people would have gotten in and it would have crashed harder. I think the whole outrage marketing was a way for Richard to deter people from making more of a blow off top in Hex. But at least it made, a good theme for you. right?
Yeah. Did you see my my own outrage marketing?
What's that?
Did you not see it? I was in Dubai recently, and at the time I was getting called a scammer a lot on Twitter, like a lot, and a lot of haters just coming after me, which is kind of funny because there are a lot of legit real scammers out there, and I'm actually just trying to do the right thing. But anyway, so I thought, you know what, I'm in Dubai anyway, so let's just piss them off. So I went and rented a McLaren for a few days, got a Versace shirt on, bought a Gucci bag. This one behind me there. I just went a little bit. I went and like just thought, yeah, fuck you guys. So I did a little bit of content of me driving around in a McLaren in Dubai, and there's one video of me pulling up to a guy, giving him an eggplant, and then nodding, and then just driving off. And that was like when we deliver 9-inch, just like, yeah, there you go, now fuck off, kind of thing.
Wait, so lay down on the therapy couch and tell me, because you're out of all the people on the screen, you're probably the only one who's balled out like Richard Hart for a day. I don't know. Maybe ChrispyMan has. And so just like tell me, like, how did it feel to address the haters using outrage marketing? Was that cathartic for you? Did that feel like, what was it like?
It felt very, very good. It felt very good. I understand. You know what? He must have been pissing himself doing all of this. Like, how many people? Because I had it, and like obviously, especially what I was doing was a joke. But I had people like, oh, it's a wannabe Richard Hart, and then I had the other side like, oh, that's where your sacrifice money is going. Hexy's living it up in Dubai with your money, and I'm like, I got so much hate, but I just thrived off it. It made me want to do it even more and more and more and more. So I completely get why Richard did it for as long as he did, because it actually, I mean, Richard was getting hate even when he was just, you know, I mean, he's always trying to help people, but like when he was genuinely trying to just, you know, convince people that Hex is better than Bitcoin or whatever, and he was genuinely trying to help people find a better way in life, and, you know, with his self-help books and stuff like that, he was still getting hate back then anyway. So I think he just got pissed off, and he was like, you know what, fuck you guys. I'm just going to show you how much money I've got. And that's when he did the Louis Vuitton and all of this, you know, stuff. Oh, I've got $1 million worth of watches on this wrist and 3 million on this wrist. And in the car, by the way, when I was driving, I had 4 watches on. 4 watches on, combined value of less than $2,000, by the way. But it still felt good. Like, it was fucking funny, man. I really enjoyed it, actually. And I think I might do more in future because that shit was funny as hell.
So I want to drill into this too as a self-proclaimed crypto psychologist. I think if you're working on the internet, first of all, you're going to get a lot of hate. And if you're doing things that are good for humanity, you're going to get hate all the same, whether, you know, because there are so many trolls and people who are maybe mentally ill, which, you know, that's a population that I, you know, have dedicated a lot of my life to work with. I think when Richard transitioned from doing charity and helping make the next batch of millionaires in crypto and all this other stuff, I think when he was getting hate for things that he cared about, that must have been a buzzkill for him. That must have been like really hard to keep going. However, when he started acting like a clown, that created a diversion to where the people who were hating on him for doing charity, they had a lower hanging fruit now to go after. They could go after his outrage marketing, and then he wouldn't maybe feel so bad about himself. I'm just speculating here, but I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. I think I wouldn't feel so bad about myself doing good things for the world if people weren't picking so much on the good things and they were just picking on these diversions and this outrage marketing. So if people are hating on Richard because, you know, because he bought $10 million worth of cars only, like literally somebody who's probably a billionaire in Bitcoin, billionaire in Ethereum, billionaire in USDC or stables, whatever, billionaire in Hex, billionaire in Pulse, you know, we're not even talking how many billions in each of these coins, right? But the man finally, for the first time in his entire life, buys a new car for himself and then buys a few more. And it's like, you know, people start hating on him. He knows he's not a scammer. So I could see him thriving on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm nowhere near Richard's level. Like, I'm not even on the same planet as him yet, but I think I might be one day.
All right.
I know why he did it, man. I mean, he was a rich dude before. He had nice stuff in his house, and I'm sure he used to go eat at nice restaurants and have nice clothes. But I think what he did is he just ramped that up to overdrive, just purely based off the fact that he was getting all this hate anyway. And kind of like how I felt at the time is, man, I'm getting this hate anyway. Let's really piss people off. And it worked. He did gain a lot of followers doing all this shit. And you look at case studies like I don't know, Andrew Tate. He's a good example of this. He's the epitome of like playboy billionaire. He's a bit, I wouldn't really say he's misogynistic or anything like that. It depends how you view it, but he says outrageous things, and he does. It
depends what state you live in.
Yeah. which color state? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's he is an outrageous guy, but I'm sure in real life he's not like that. He's just like a normal. I've heard he's quite just like a humble guy in real life. He's quite quiet actually, and he's reserved. It's Tristan, his brother, that is the loud one. But he's the kind of non-famous one out of the two. So yeah, he does this shit to generate attention, and then it's all about converting the attention though. Now, for someone like Richard to do it, I think it's a little bit of a taller order because he's crypto rich and he's got this reputation for being a scammer, which, founded or not, is
because he vampire attacked Bitcoin and then vampire attacked Ethereum.
Yeah, of course. And he built a platform shilling Bitcoin. And then he converted. It's very similar to me. I built a platform shilling Hex, but I've never come out and said, "Oh, buy my shit, don't buy Hex." That's not what I'm telling people. I mean, honestly, I tell people straight up, like things like Hex and Pulse Chain, they're like your long-term holds. You really should be stacking those. But you can have fun in other stuff. That I just think I'm trying to convince people it is okay to dabble in other stuff as well. You don't have to be a maxi. You don't have to be 100% all in one thing. Being a maxi is dangerous. Because if you're 100% all in one thing and something goes wrong, you're fucked. But if you're 85, 90% all in on one thing and then you've got a 10% moonbag in loads of other things, that's a good strategy. I mean, honestly, I would even go, depends on your level of wealth. If you're a little guy, then 90% into the main stuff and then 10% into the others. If you're a big guy, you probably want to be like 60% all in on one thing and then split the other 40% up. It depends on your bag size and what you do, right? But being a complete 100% maxi in one thing or one guy or one anything is not a good idea. And you ask any like billionaire, multimillionaire guy out there that, let's say he just trades in stocks and shares, there's no way he's a maxi in one stock or one share. It does not happen at all. So I don't know why people in crypto think that way. It's not a clever way to look at things.
I got a quick story here. So when Richard Hart passed 100,000 followers on Twitter not too long ago, a couple of years ago, I made a video for him using Jerry Springer. It was like a 1 minute video or something.
Yeah, the cameo thing, right?
And then
that was awesome.
The SEC like sent Jerry Springer paperwork, and then he died like the next week.
Is Jerry Springer dead? I didn't know he was dead.
And the SEC killed him over the 1 minute video he made for Richard Hart. So even though that's a sad story, I think we'll win in the end. And Richard has 330,000 followers now on Twitter. And so if you ask yourself, like, what's been happening in this bear market? Sure, ever since he did that outrage marketing, the number of followers has gone up, but the number of Hex stakers and buyers and holders and stuff, it's barely budged. And you might look back on this time during the next bull market, and you might think to yourself, wow, what an opportunity that was, whether you could see it or not, because he's tripled the number of people who are paying attention to him. And the price has gone down, whatever how far down is it? Like 90%, 95%. And so for all those people who are paying attention now, when the green candles start printing again, we hope that they do, that's going to be the best advertising possible. But the people who are going to pay attention to that marketing of green candles are going to be the ones who are following him. So that's the next group of people who will probably buy up the price to over $1.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, the bear market has been brutal, and Hex is Hex and Richard Hart products in general. They are altcoins essentially. Like, I know we think of them as like big blue chips, but they're new comparatively to Bitcoin or Ethereum. They're new, so Ethereum did really well in the bear market. Actually, it didn't go down that far at all. It went down a little bit more than Bitcoin did, but it's like a leveraged position against Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes down, I think it only went down 75%. Then Ethereum goes down 85%, and then things like Hex and I don't know, Link or Phantom or whatever, they go down 90 to 95% because it's like a leverage position. So you get the mad gains with those, but you also get the mad losses with those as well. So it's just a leverage position
and the mad opportunities.
Yeah, it's all opportunity, man. Like
when it goes down that much, man.
I loaded up on so much Hex when it got down to 3 cents, and then just recently, obviously, it went down to 0.3 of a cent on Ethereum, and I loaded up hard at that level because I think people had massively undervalued Ethereum side of Hex, because people forget that when people find out about Hex, they're not necessarily going to know about Pulse Chain. So they'll go buy it on Ethereum. So all the new people that are coming in, if they're not already onboarded into Pulse Chain, they're going to buy it on Ethereum. So I just took that in my head and I was like, you know what? I don't mind having more of the Ethereum side. That's actually, it's cheaper. I can get more of it. So it made a lot of sense to me just to go and load up on that. And I spent, I don't know, 20-30% of what I spent on Hex at the 3 cents. Obviously, I ended up with like 3-4 times as much Hex on Ethereum at that point. So
congrats.
And then about 3 days later, it went up 3x. So can't complain.
Good timing too,
Good
right?
timing.
It was good timing.
Doesn't hurt. Hey, if you answered this already while I was unfucking my shit, talk about a poor pleb, right? It's like, geez Louise. I think, I think it's my VPN, because I pause my VPN when we start and then it'll kick in, and I think it's jacking things up. So whatever. But anywho, single-sided staking. It's like, I guess, to show my plebbery on this topic, what's the risk of single-sided staking? Because I know with LP, there's impermanent loss, and we talked about that, and there's like tons of potential for, making gains on your gains because you're getting yield while you're effectively DCAing in and out of something as it sloshes back and forth between the two sides of the LP position you're in. But with single-sided, to be just super frank, I don't really understand exactly how that works. And what's the risk of that?
Well, other than contract risk, there isn't really any. Of course, contracts always have potential for problems, but we have had 2 audits done, so
it's good to know.
The chances of that happening are very low, but I wouldn't say it's completely impossible. It's never impossible for a contract to get hacked, right?
And then since there's less risk, that's also why the yield's typically less on that than it is on a yield farm of an LP. Yeah. Right.
Much less risk, and also it doesn't actually benefit the protocol much. Maybe it helps pump the 9-inch price a little because some of it gets taken off the market. Same with BBC, same with PP, same with WETH, same with PLD. But it doesn't actually help the holders of 9-inch gain.
I froze.
Am I there?
Back. Yeah, you're back.
Oh,
You're back.
sorry. I don't know what's happening with my internet. If you do a locked stake, you cannot get out. There's no emergency end stake function. There's nothing you can do. So if you decide you want to lock up for, let's say, 45 weeks, you cannot get that money back until the 45 weeks is done. And that includes the yield as well. You can't harvest the yield halfway through or anything like that. You don't get anything until the end. What you get at the end of that is you get a 2-week grace period to remove that stake. After the 2-week grace period, your interest will start to bleed out for 90 days and then to 0. But you always keep the principal. You can always remove the principal. It's not like Hex where if you don't end your stake, then the entire thing bleeds out into nothing. That's not how it works here. It's just the interest. And the interest from that goes into a no expectations wallet, which, could be used for various things. I don't know. It could get burned. It could get given away. It could get recycled into buying something. I don't know, but no answer for that. But yeah, that just goes into kind of like a dev address, I suppose. That's the only dev fee. Oh, there's one more as well. So if you enter a flexible staking pool, there is a fee to exit if you exit within 3 days. So it has to be in for 3 full days before you exit to not take a fee. Now, I was under the impression this 1%, but a couple of people in the community were saying it was 4%. But that number is we can change that number at any time. We can put it as high as 20% or as low as 0. So we might adjust that later, but I don't expect that there's going to be that many people that jump in and out of flexible staking pools, because it's just not going to happen much. And even if it is a 4% thing, then it's not actually that much, to be honest. If you're making good yield on it, because there might be guys that jump into the single-sided staking pools just for like an hour because they want to, at the beginning, because they want to get that 1,000,000% APY for like 10 seconds or something like that, and then they want to jump out and go back into the yield farms. As long as they're aware of that, but all of this information will be on the website.
Are those live yet? The single-sided?
Yeah, so you got 9-inch and BBC single-sided staking that went live yesterday.
Okay,
and then tomorrow we're going to be adding some more.
And then does it only show the APR on that, or APY, once you've connected your wallet?
Right. So yeah, this is what I was just going to say, actually. So there are a few things bugs on the UI on the website. There's a few APRs.
I was just thinking, like, just to be sure, like, people aren't, going to the wrong places. It's literally,
it says 0 right now, right?
Yeah, it will say 0. So we've got some RPC issues with I can't remember the name of it now. There's this like weird backend thing that needs to be done. Devs are working on it now because it's not showing on the Pulse or ETH pair for 9-inch either. Now the other ones are showing, but for some reason the those yield amounts just aren't flagging up. Devs are working on it now, but I was just going to say actually that obviously we're rolling this out. This is a huge project. There's 32 smart contracts. The front end is phenomenally difficult in terms of the amount of code and the amount of work that needs to go in it. So everything works smart contract wise. Everything's running perfectly as it should be. We are making changes to the front end. So the front end is probably not going to be perfect for like another week or two.
You know what is perfect?
Right. My hat.
What's that?
I was going to say the font. I really like the font on the front end that you got there on 9-inch.
Hey, I wanted to add in something real quick, just to make sure, because I know like if other people that are watching are like me and they're watching streams like this and they want to go check something out, to make sure they're going to the right website. It's the number 9inch.io, correct?
Correct, yeah. 9inch.io, number 9inch.io. Yeah, absolutely. And be careful out there, guys, because we've had a lot of scam tokens launching with the same name as us. Be very careful. Make sure you always go to the actual source, not just don't go on bloody Etherscan and start searching for 9-inch, because like 100 will come up and you're never going to know what it is.
So where is the source that you want people to go to?
Just 9inch.io. Just do everything on there. Or you can go to DEX
number
Screener as well,
9inch.io.
And if you're not, you should be following them on Twitter. And that's
or don't even follow me. Follow 9inch_io on Twitter. That's where you're going to get the first updates for any new farms that go out, things like that. I would actually put the bell on for that one. If you want to be in quick on the farms, you need to be following that account. You need to have the bell on, because that's the first place that we announce anything. Also in the Telegram, which is DEX 9inch, t.me/DEX 9inch, be in there as well, because basically at the same time that things go live, we tweet it and we post it in the Telegram, and we tag everyone, and we let the community know as quickly as we can as soon as we know that the front end has actually gone up. But yeah, there's a few niggly things. I mean, for example, they're still adding tokens to the DEX, like logos and stuff. Even Poor Pleb isn't on there yet. We've only got like the very basic tokens on there right now, because the devs have got this absolutely gigantic list of things to work through, and we've just put them in order of importance. So like, it is, someone mentioned in the chat, subgraph. That's the word I was looking for. It's the subgraph that's stopping us from getting the APR for some of the pairs and some of the single-sided staking pools. But yeah, we've got this list of just important shit going on. There's 3 devs working on it, literally 20.
So is the APR the APR is in 0 though? It's just not displaying correctly.
No, the APR is ever so slightly lower than it would be on the stablecoin pools. Looking at it now on Pulse Chain, some of the stable pools are sort of between 3.5% and 4,000%, just over 4,000%.
What about for the single-sided?
For single-sided, I actually have no idea. I'll try and find out, but I have no
0%,
idea.
Matty. 0%. This way. Well, no, this way I can get in there and put as much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
when I was
You are making yield. I mean, you can kind of figure it out yourself anyway. If you put some in there, if you put like $100 in there, you can figure out what the APR is. Just by timesing that by, you know, you get your BBC amount, times it by 24 and then 365. That's one easy way to do it.
And then I was looking at some of the questions in the chat. And I'm assuming that this is accurate. Someone was saying that there's some difficulty with swapping PLS to BBC right now. Is that just because the liquidity maybe hasn't built up on your DEX yet? Because you're not an aggregator. It's like it's all based on the liquidity that's on your DEX, right?
It could be, but it should be routing via the 9-inch token anyway. So it should auto route based upon, you know, the quickest way and the cheapest way to get the liquidity. Again, I'd have to double check that, but I think one of the things people can do that does help this, because we have had a few people just experience some random issues. Disconnect your wallet from the website, do a hard refresh. So that's Control F5 on Windows, for example. Do a hard refresh, then reconnect your wallet, and then try. That should solve the problem. Like I say, I mean, the amount of effort that goes into making a website like this, it looks super simple on the face of it, but it's really not. Like, I can't even begin to imagine how these guys are actually doing it. But Matt, you made a good comment earlier about like the fun. I think the one thing that we have got going for us is just like the kind of sleek look of the
branding.
Entire thing.
The branding is super
point,
on
man.
point. Yeah,
it's on point.
So that's another thing I wanted to talk about, because narrative and branding and memes are kind of a big deal in our culture today. And I don't know, you know, if that will exactly translate into financial success, but I know that I just watched the movie, what was it? Dumb Money. And it was about the GameStop.
I've seen this.
You know, the GameStop thing. And the whole idea there is that you had Occupy Wall Street movement that gave birth around the same time to Bitcoin. Everybody was like, F the banks. And then that turned into Occupy Wall Street that we saw in this last bubble in 2021, and where people were literally making the bank lose their shit so much that they had to take away the buy button so that they could stop Main Street from beating Wall Street. And now in the next cycle, I think crypto could really shine, where you have this organic participation. And why was it that Dogecoin and Shiba and all these other tokens, why did they do so well during the same time when people were putting their life savings into GameStop? Because it was a joke to them, because they didn't have any life savings, because the banks had already taken it all from inflation and low wages and stuff. Is because if you're going to throw up your middle finger to the bank, you might as well do it in the most sarcastic, memeable way possible. Like it's an extra FU to the banks if the future of money is a picture of a dog. Dogs are the most popular pet in the world. It's not an accident that this happened, that the top 4 or the top 5 cryptos ever, at least 1 or 2 of them were meme coins. And so I think this last one, what was the last meme coin that popped off? I think Pepe. I don't think that was real. I think that they had launched their 7th version of Pepe, and all the insiders had already acquired, and then they pumped it. But I think that the ones before that were real examples of organic growth. And, you know, with one of them, I guess, Dogecoin, the creator didn't even have any tokens because it was a joke to him. And
so he sold them all, didn't he, ages ago? Like, all of them.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, is a bit of a dick move, right? Like, if he's built up a community and he's just dumped them all on their heads, that's actually a dick move, right? But he did lay a foundation, and you're absolutely right, Matty. You cannot ignore meme coins. They are the culture. That's the thing that gets the most volume when they pop off. Pepe was doing over $100 million of volume a day, man. 100 million a day in volume, just on chain as well. That doesn't even include the exchanges, what they were doing, right?
Well, and I think something to that point, I think that, something that people miss, and it's funny because like early on, it's like I was infamously unfollowed by Richard. I was like one of those first like 150 people he followed, and then he unfollowed me because I was speaking nicely to the Pulse Doge community and the Pulse Bitcoin community to explain to them the importance of having a HEX staking ladder, because the guys that were like the founders of those things had huge HEX bags, right? But because he just had this like, hard and fast rule about not talking about anything that wasn't an RH coin, I was in that group of people like Abit and a bunch of other people that he unfollowed at that point. And I actually got a lot of hate from like the Hex Maxis. I got a death threat. It was fucking crazy for a little while.
Oh, I've had a few of them.
Dude, it's nuts. And it's like, it's so silly. But it's funny to me, like not long after that is, Richard actually had a Pepe pool on Pulse Chain, right? So I wonder now, like if he becomes more vocal, if he, because I think that he helped foster my staunch belief in self-sovereignty, self-custody. It's also individual responsibility to do your research, make sure that you're not aping in or putting too much of your bag of liquid assets into, super risky shit that you haven't done your due diligence on. It's, most people diversify. I mean, it's just understood. It's like, yeah, are you going to make more money if you pick the winning thing? Sure. But, how confident are you that you've picked the winning thing? I'm 98% in Hex, right? But those other 2%, I dabble. I just don't talk about it publicly because it's like I don't want to look like I'm endorsing someone to go into something. I'm always telling people, do your own research. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to a talking head on YouTube. It's like, go research it, figure it out, figure out your own risk tolerance, and pay attention to what you're doing. And, there's gains to be made. And so it'd be really interesting because it's like there is so much adoption that does come from like the meme community and things like you're doing and you're building, right? It's like, that's why Maddie's got you on. It's like, you're not just some guy that's created some new token. It's like, you're doing stuff that works hand in hand with, what Richard has created. So it's like, I think people need to discern between like, what's bullshit and what's solid and what has value and invest accordingly, right? Invest accordingly.
Absolutely, man. Meme coins are the biggest thing in crypto. They really are. Like, yeah. Yeah, that's that
fun,
casting
they're fun, dude. They're funny.
This is where you go if you've got a token that you want to get listed on the website. So the casting couch. We've got memes out the yin yang on this website. Like if you want to put in or remove liquidity, it's inserting and pulling out, and there you go. Oh, actually, there's a new feature we're going to add. So we just added a E9-inch, P9-inch pool on a Pulse chain. The E9-inch logo is going to be that, the one with the condom on it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we're going to call it Wrapped 9-inch.
Safe Dex. Yeah. That's hilarious. It's just so, I mean, it's such a genius idea because it's like, it's silly. It's like totally like, teenage humor, teenage boy humor, but it's just so ripe. Like you could just go on and on and on with it. So it's like, it's such a hilarious format that
I've always been the dick joke guy, man. That's how I got any notoriety within the Hex community, because I would just draw dicks on charts. And I had like the first Christmas. So I started streaming in like, October, November time or something like that. And then by Christmas, I'd actually built up like a decent following. I had a fucking Christmas dick behind me, like a dick made out of like tinsel on the wall. And I've always been the dick joke guy, so doing a coin PP and then 9-inch, and it's just like a match made in heaven, honestly. And I'm really glad that we went with this brand in the end, because everyone knows 1inch.io, but 9-inch is way bigger. 9-inch is also a reasonable size. Like if you've got a big dick, like 9-inch is a big dick. Like you don't need any bigger than that. If a girl tells you that 9 inches isn't enough, then she's been around the block too many times.
It's like throwing a pickle down the hallway.
So this is not a family show today, but my girlfriend made me this shirt a while back, and I
have a
I have a huge cook.
That's hilarious. And I'm forking it there. That's awesome.
So it's a Richard Hart quote, but she made the shirt for me.
Nice.
So.
That's awesome, Richard really paved the way for us doing PP in the first place. He spent the whole of last year talking about how big his PP was. Like, I'd never even called it a PP before. It was him who. He's the first place I ever heard the phrase PP, and it made me laugh a lot. I thought it was fucking funny. I mean, obviously there was some people who found it a bit cringe and they didn't like it, but they're not guys that would ever be attracted to meme coins anyway. I am a guy that maybe would be attracted to meme coins because I'm in it for the culture, man. I don't mind losing a few $100 on a meme coin if it's, if I get excited about being in it and I find it funny. Like what we're trying to do here is we're trying to blend finance and entertainment. financial entertainment. That's what we're trying to do. And people are having a lot of fun just dabbling in our meme coin DEX right now. And
Fintainment.
Fintainment.
Something.
Yeah, fintainment. Yeah, financial entertainment, man. Like if you can keep people occupied and laughing and having a good time, they're going to remain pretty loyal to you, man. As long as you keep switching it up. And I think 9inch is going to be the hot spot for meme coins in the future. I think they're all going to want a position on 9inch in order to, like, if we list a farm on 9inch, what I want in the future is that when we announce that we're listing a farm on 9inch for a particular shitcoin that's just come out, that price goes to the fucking moon because we've said we're doing it. You know what I mean? That's the power I think we're going to have in the future. If this ends up working out and being successful, then I think we've had over 100 different tokens apply to be listed on the website already. And do you know what's funny is that in the 3 months since we did the sacrifice, about 40 of them have rugged.
I can believe it.
I can believe that. Yeah. But a lot of these things do fail. Sometimes they get one pump and they dump, and that's it. They just die forever. But we've never really had that outlook with our tokens. I mean, even with PP, I didn't want it to do a pump and dump. I wanted it to gradually just do well in the bear market. Because I think it's performed exceptionally well in the bear market. If that performance in the bear market, you take that into a raging bull market, I think PP could go to the fucking moon, man. It really could. And all those guys, like in my head, that 1,423,690 that we gave out as a free claim to everyone, I would absolutely love it if that became a substantial amount of money for the guys that just claimed it and then forgot about it. And then they go back a year or two later and they see, damn, this thing's worth like $1,000. That would be really, really amazing, man. Like we gave 4,000 people $1,000. You know, that who needed it? The guys who needed it. I know Matty didn't need it, but there are some guys that needed it.
Do you know that I didn't need it? I mean,
I've heard you say you're a multi-millionaire before.
Dude, that was when Hex was 50 cents. I did not sell the top.
Nor did I.
I'm selling my DeLorean, bro.
Yeah.
How much do you want for it?
$88,000. I paid 75 for it, but there's inflation, and it's in the top 5% best preserved DeLoreans in the world.
It's beautiful, dude.
That's not the one. I know you had a car crash. So you didn't crash that.
No, he didn't crash the DeLorean.
I wasn't even driving in the car crash, but the DeLorean is
in
mint condition.
It's beautiful. I've gotten to ride in that car and be around it. It's amazing. It's amazing. If
it was bull market, Matty wouldn't be selling it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's right.
I am actually looking at the next car I want to buy a American muscle car. I'm thinking like a Dodge or something like that. Oh shit! I haven't decided yet.
Dude, get the DeLorean. Make it the PP mobile.
Yeah,
if I was gonna get a PP mobile, I'd get a Reliant Robin. You know what they are?
That sounds super familiar. Oh, Reliant.
It's a triangle 3-wheel car.
Right.
I'd be getting one of them.
Shot. Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
Anybody out there listening who's a whale, hit me up on Twitter. I'm selling. I can deliver it in the United States via trailer, and help me out here because I'm
wants to buy the dip, boys.
Yeah.
No, it does suck. I mean, I do feel that there are a few guys that I know that did really, really well in Hex, and at one point, there's a couple guys I know, but one really stands out. He's the first Hexican. In fact, I'm not gonna dox him too much because I think I might have said this on stream before. One of the first Hexicans I ever met in real life. I think his dad put like £500, so maybe $600 in for him, roughly around the bottom in Hex. Staked it on a ladder, or he just staked it for like a year or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he did now, but that guy ended up with $2 million, man.
Nice.
From $600.
Yeah.
Did he sell?
Only a bit. So now he's feeling wrecked. I mean, he's still got a lot more money than he had from the $600, but compared to what he had at the top, 2 million, maybe he's down to like, I don't know, 80 grand now, maybe less than 80 grand, So he feels wrecked at the moment, and that does suck. I know a lot of guys with similar stories, man. They never really had the money, but by the time it got to the top, they kind of it's a question of like both being a little bit greedy, but then also just the belief, man. By that point, they just believed it was just not going to stop, and it would just keep going and going and going. But then in reflection, I remember when I went to one Hex meetup down, it wasn't in London, it was somewhere near London. And I bumped into one dude who I knew anyway. He's a guy that did stream a few times, actually. You might know him, but I don't want to dox him too hard. This was not long after Hedron came out. And he told me that he was making like $2,000 a day from his TShares. And this was when Hex was at like 15 cents still, 12, 15 cents. So it was coming down. But even at like 15 cents, he was making $2,000 a day from his TShares. And it was at that moment I realized, like, oh, fuck, that's not sustainable, right? Because he was a dolphin, I believe. So there's 900 dolphins, and then you got an amount of sharks above that as well. So it's like, shit, bro, 2,000 a day? Like, really? I haven't even got like $300 in the bank. You know, I'm fucking wrecked right now. I'm trying to put £50 a month in, you know, I'm broke as hell. And it was at that moment I realized, like, damn, we need a big shakeout, you know, we need a lot of these guys out. And I think the price going as low as it did in the long run is probably going to be the best thing that's ever happened for Hex, because a lot of these guys shook themselves out. I know there was a few relatively well-known kind of innie outy Hex guys that like loved Richard Hart, then they hated Richard Hart, and then they loved him again, and then they hated him again. There's one notable one that emergency end staked everything. So that's actually a really good point from Freddie Quotes. If the sacrifices hadn't happened, because I think that gave it like an extra boost that it probably shouldn't have had. Because I was banking on the bottom being between 5 and 8 cents. That's in my head. I was doing TA and everything like that. I was thinking between 5 and 8 cents. And even at the time when I called it at like 38 cents. It's like, it's going to dip to like 8 cents. And people thought I was crazy. But there was a guy in the UK chat who was saying it's going below a penny, and I thought he was crazy.
Right.
But it fucking did.
It
did. Yeah. So, you know, who's crazy? You know, I think Hex is going to it's going to bounce back, but because it's split across two chains, and now the economic value's got to fill out Pulse and Pulse X and Inc. and EHEX, PHEX. So now you've got like 5 or 6 different tokens. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to lift that up, unless you get like raging virality. If you get raging virality, then all of them are going to the moon.
Well, and I think this speaks back to, you know, what we're talking about here today with, you know, meme coins and how popular they are and how much volume they bring. It's like, even if and this was my argument when I was talking to the Pulse Doge guys and the Pulse Bitcoin guys. It's like, you know, even if a fraction of the money that people make in these other things, they learn about Hex and they learn about the value of in my opinion, the best store of value ever created, especially at these levels. If they can rotate some of that profit they're making and these things they're having fun with into a store of value, that makes sense. It's like, you know, just like a traditional finance portfolio. The bulk of your stuff is in a blue chip, right? Because it's the most stable, you know, you can count on it. It's like, you know, it's going to be there long term. And then you have your more speculative, you know, investments and stuff that's, you know, higher risk, higher reward. So that's my thinking as far as like, you know, the Hex maxis that are really just shitting on this as a concept, right? Like just anything that has to do with meme, anything that's not RH coins, it's garbage. It's like, no, it's like, that's the next hexagon. You know, there's going to be a percentage of those guys that become hexagons, and that's going to help everybody, right? It's going to help the derivative coins. It's going to help Hex. It's going to help Pulse X. It's going to help everything. So, you know, I think the bigger the overall, you know, universe of this stuff grows and people learn, you know, about the meager beginnings of it, how do you not take some of your profit if you've made out crazy on BBC or PP or, you know, any of these other meme coins out there, and not take part of it and be like, oh wait, it's like, how did these guys start? Oh, they were hexagons. Oh, they've got
Well, your mic's gone again. Your mic just went at the end there, and you're back.
Ah, shit. Oh. Yeah, I'm back. Okay,
Lag.
Sorry. Yeah, so I was just saying, it's like,
Yeah,
you know, people should do what the founders are doing, right? It's like, you know, if they started off with Hex and staking ladders and those things, you know, why shouldn't I maybe follow suit, right? It's like, I made money on some of these small things. Let's invest it in a good store of value, and Hex is, you know, at the root of all of this.
Well, that's exactly what
we wouldn't be here right now, right?
You're lagging again, Toby.
Yeah. Well, Hex
is going,
definitely...
but he's just like lagging behind a tiny bit. But sorry, Crispy, go ahead, man.
I was going to say Hex is definitely still the play in my mind, but there's all these other things going on, of course, right? We have all this stuff. And I know some people get kind of cross over the idea that anybody talks about anything that other than Hex, but don't launch Pulse Chain, and all I would do is talk about Hex, right? But we have Pulse Chain, and so I got to change hats sometimes. But I think you're right on a bunch of stuff. Like when you talk about the Hex, there were some very strong arguments for Hex coming down to these levels, and I guess the lesson learned after the fact, or maybe, is I like to use this terminology. You tell me something, and if I violently disagree with you in my head, I try to stop and ask why not. Why not? Because perhaps there's something and the strong argument that I had heard about Hex coming to these levels is that it was too expensive for most of the world to participate, and that because it was too expensive, it was going to hurt adoption, and therefore the price needed to come down. Now, I didn't like to hear that at 40 cents. I sure as hell didn't like to hear it at 20, 10, 5. I guess I like hearing it okay when it's down at 1 or 2 cents. because now it's conceivable to me that Hex could be half a penny, right? Anyways, just one of the comments about this whole thing and what you were talking about.
I think it just went up too much, man. It went up too much, and the euphoria was. I will spot the euphoria next time. I mean, I was literally part of the euphoria. Like guys like me coming along and saying Hex is going to $85, which is something I'm quoted as saying on stream. Like it was around Christmas, the first year that I was around.
Well, it
Everyone
could
was
have.
saying, "What's the price prediction?" I was saying $85, man, and
that was that would have been. That would have been a 10,000x from launch instead of a 10,000x from the bottom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
that was my logic.
Wasn't out of play or whatever it would have been. So I'm totally with you guys. Look, it's whenever you're living and breathing this stuff, even if you're not paying full attention. I remember when I first got into Hex, it was like I started selling on a 10x. And I had to really educate myself.
Paper hands, man.
Well, I bought it back. I got lucky. I got lucky though, because I was in the right mood one day, and I bought it back right after after the Godwill pump and then dump back in the day, because it corrected after Kareem and the Godwill got in. But it's easy to think to yourself, oh, of course, I'm going to sell the top next time, or I'm going to buy the bottom. But it's an emotional struggle to do those things. And so that's why learning from others. And I even tell people to practice, take a nice little $100 wallet that you have and practice selling on a green candle and buying on a red candle. Because some people just they're not even to that level yet, right? A lot of us emotionally, like the vast majority of people, want to buy tops and sell bottoms. That's how humans are wired. So in order to train yourself away from that, I recommend people practice with a small amount. And we got Johnny Cass in the chat.
They also get funded out at the bottom. So when the FTX thing happened, obviously a lot of my friends and family know that I'm in crypto, okay? And when the FTX thing happened, I got about 5 messages from different people saying, mate, are you okay? I've heard crypto's dead.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is the best time to buy in the world. Why are you thinking like that, And when that shit happened, I went and bought stuff. I waited for the dip and I bought everything I could around that time, because these are exactly the signals of the bottom of the bear market. And likewise at the top, when, I don't know, let's say the Bitcoin ETF wasn't coming yet. Let's say it came now. That would be my signal to sell. I'd be like, right, okay, yeah, it's fucking, we've got max adoption, guys. Right, I'm selling then, because that's the the trigger. Likewise, if Freddie Quotes comes out in 2 years and does a 9-inch to the moon music video, that might be a good time to sell your 9-inch. I don't know. No offense, Freddie. I love you, bro.
We're gonna be dancing in like a maternity wing.
What?
Because it's the opposite of a funeral home.
Yeah, right. The birth
I've got it.
life cycle. Pay attention, Crispy.
Yeah.
And hey, just a little back padding here. You realize before we went on the bull run, Hexaco launched.
Yeah, that's where I first seen you, Toby. In that, man, that was a good music video.
I wasn't
with the green screen. Welcome to Hexaco. With
Good?
I wasn't in it. I stayed
You
behind
think it
the
was
scenes.
good?
Dude. I loved it.
It was cringe. It was cringe, but it was
Oh,
good
man.
though. It was. I'm sure Johnny Chaos was in it as well, with like his hair sweeping back and shit. I thought you were in it.
Richard Hart was in it.
Richard Hart did an original clip for me for that. Yeah, dude, it was super fun. It was super fun. But it's like a meme in video format. You know what I mean? It's just like silly and fun, and it's like And that was the beginning of the bull. So if we do a Hexaco reboot, maybe that's the bottom. But I think we already hit the bottom personally.
I think the bottom's in.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've actually said this a few times before. Not as many times as some people, though. I've called the bottom a couple of times, but like I really don't think. I mean, the thing is, if this ain't the bottom, then it's just over, guys. Like seriously, I don't even know.
Well,
it can't surely go lower than this.
Have you guys seen Richard's bearish tweets about macro and stock market and Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Yeah. But did you also see how he peppered in the fact that Hex had gone up while Bitcoin was going down before?
Yeah, I don't believe that this time.
I don't know. I think it's.
I'm gonna with you, Matty, as well.
I
think he's hedging his bets.
It's not like I'm gonna hold dollars. Fuck that.
No. I think he's hedging his bets. It's like this way he can claim victory either way, right? If like Hex beats the odds and goes up when other stuff is still going down, he can claim victory. If everything goes down, he's like he called it, right? So it's like.
No, I don't know, man.
It's like giving both sides of the argument there. See, I called it, guys. Told you that'd happen. You just had to read my cryptic tweet.
Yeah, let's break it down.
This is Kevin.
What do we got here?
This is the birthday boy, and this is his Halloween outfit. He is Edward Scissorhands.
Wow,
so, happy
that's
birthday!
Really good.
Happy birthday to Kevin.
Little scary.
I haven't shown the world my sausage dogs yet. I got 2 sausage dogs.
Dude, those are great.
At the moment. Do you guys want to see them?
Yeah, absolutely. Dogs are great.
Give me 1 minute.
World premiere.
While you're doing that, I'll say this about what Richard has to say. Whenever he says something and I get this kind of feelings, you guys, that's when I go, why not? You know what? Why not? So
what does that mean though?
It means like, why not? Why can't what he said happen exactly like he said it's gonna happen?
You mean Hex does a 20x when everything else is crashing?
Why not? Why not? I know it's possible. Somebody has to decide to do it. How do they decide to do it? It could be a group of people. It could be one person. They put money in and they buy. That's how it happens, right? And it's it's oversimplified, but it's just like we were talking about. The prices going up. The prices could have gone up. They could have kept going up.
Well,
right?
and there we go. Nice.
This is one of them.
Yeah.
This one's Harry. He's about 10 weeks old.
Nice.
All right. I don't want you licking my mouth. Where's the other one? Bobo, come here. Come here.
Hey, send one over in a box for me, man. Let's go.
That's one. Wait, come here.
I'll take 2. I'll take 2 of them.
Come here. Okay.
Gotta love the dogs. Gotta love the dogs. Thus,
this one's both.
Oh wow, it's like twins almost.
No, yeah, they're basically identical.
Yeah.
One's no, this one's got a red color. Look, I'll get the other one.
No, you changed the color. I saw it. I didn't. I've got 6 of them here. Look.
Okay, can we just speak to the irony of him owning wiener dogs?
Wiener dogs.
But yeah,
Look at him.
That's awesome, dude.
PP1 and PP2.
Yeah, which one's Ethereum? Which one's Pulse Chain copy?
Well, the boy's faster, so he's got to be Pulse Chain.
There you go.
And the girl is the one that pisses on my carpet all the time. So
that's Ethereum for sure.
She's Ethereum. I gotta go put these guys back in the other room. Just give me 1 second, guys.
Yeah, right on. That's awesome, dude.
He's gotta put his wieners away.
Silly stuff.
I need a man cave.
Back? There we go.
I'm gonna build a man cave like this.
Do it.
Yeah, there's the throne right there.
The gaming chair.
Oh, I thought you were a Hexy bastard for a minute. I'm sorry. I thought you changed your background.
That
Sorry,
hat's
Matt.
great. That's pretty funny.
I have that hat too. Well, not the same one, but one like
I
it.
had one at one point, but I have no idea where it's at.
Swimming with the rats right now.
Trying to check the chat, see if we got anything. Of
Fashion
note.
Coder actually said what kind of a hat this is, but I didn't recognize the word.
Hat.
She said it in the comments.
Fur hat.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
she called it by a fancy name.
Yeah, so this is I want to ask him more questions about the limit orders, and
Trapper.
I'm curious if that's how that's working, because it's like my understanding of DEXs is like basically they're using liquidity from their own platform. It's not like an aggregator that's like
It says powered by Chainlink on the website.
Okay.
Where you put the limit order in.
Got it. Yeah. Hey Hexy, can you talk about limit orders a little bit? I'm a big limit order fan. I think it's good for the ecosystem. It makes me sleep easier when I can just set limit orders for stuff instead of having to watch charts all the time.
It's great. So actually doing limit orders on Pulse Chain was really difficult. it was super difficult. We had to create our own Oracle to do that. I think actually it's saying powered by Chainlink on the Pulse Chain side might be a mistake that might be on the list that needs to go, because we're not using Chainlink for that. But we are using a similar process. So you have to basically pay the fee. So on Chainlink, you usually pay a fee in Chainlink tokens to do limit orders. Now you might not notice that fee happens because you do your limit order, and then the whatever platform you're using, like I don't know, Uniswap or whatever, they will handle the fee and they settle it on their side. We're doing that with 9-inch tokens, and all of those get burned. So yeah. So for example, I wanted to do a limit order for say like a few $1,000s yesterday or something, and it was going to charge me like 9,000 9-inch tokens to do it, which isn't a lot. It's a few pennies really. So yeah, it's fine. So
that's cool.
But on Ethereum, we just use Chainlink as normal. But yeah, we had to build our own Oracle. That kind of slowed us down a little bit, to be honest, with launching. But yeah, that's how it works. Obviously, there needs to be adequate liquidity there for limit orders to actually work. So at the moment, we haven't really got enough liquidity. Some pairs you'll be able to do it, but not on all of them, because we haven't got like the overall liquidity. I think there's only like $20 million of liquidity on the platform in total at the moment, which isn't that much, really, depending on what it's split across. So yeah, but in future, when they're there, they do work. It's just having enough liquidity in there in order to process the transactions, basically.
And it's a first for Pulse Chain, to be able to do limit orders. So
yeah.
This guy,
hey.
this guy brought limit orders to Pulse Chain. Hey,
yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew, man? Who knew? Well, I think we would be happy to share that code with Richard as well. All he has to do is ask.
There you go.
Well, Richard doesn't really run anything, of course, because like it's a homeless guy and a monk that are like doing everything.
I thought it was an African priest. Am I thinking of something different?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. But that's a really cool offer. People should pass that along.
Of course. I mean, I have a feeling like that he's probably going to, I mean, it might not be like copying as such, because I think a lot of the features we've got, he was going to roll out anyway. But I think the game theory behind how we manage the BBC token, I think he's going to replicate that in some way with the single-sided staking and giving higher rewards for holding up the ink token. I really think he's going to copy that. I mean, we didn't invent it. We just took it out of the cake playbook, Sure. But, I think that will happen in the future. It's the only way I can see ink token actually doing anything, really. At the moment, there's no reason. I mean, other than it being bonded with the liquidity of a Pulse, I don't really see any reason to hold it. Another thing he could do as well is he could make that the DAO token. If you made that the DAO token, it's game over, man. Like, a lot of people will hold it and they won't dump it. We were thinking about doing that for BBC, but we've got another idea for that with BBC, which we might roll out in a few months.
Cool.
So that's what's up.
I dig it.
And I guess Johnny Sachs is a Hexican who has been tantalizing everybody with his marketing that Hex has a secret weapon, and he's recently talked about that game theory, which also is a way to help incentivize people to participate in Hex. And so we'll probably have him on the Game Theory Gang one of these days to talk about that game theory as well. But
what is the secret weapon? Do you know?
What is this?
Communist token.
Oh, communist. Okay.
Yeah. So that was an airdrop that not everybody has claimed yet, but it's out there. And Johnny has a YouTube channel where you can, Johnny Sachs, SAKS, has a YouTube channel where he did a 90-minute video. I checked it out, and it is loaded with game theory. It's going to take me a while to wrap my head around even. So that's something I can recommend for people to check out. Another question somebody has here. Tell us about upcoming farms.
Yeah, so tomorrow is the last big rollout that we're going to be doing. We haven't got a specific time set, but to be honest, even if we give you a time, just expect it to be late, because it always is. When we launched, we thought it was going to be at 8 p.m. And it launched at 4 a.m. So shit happens, man. Software is hard. 9 inches is harder. Anyway, the farms tomorrow, we've got quite a few coming out. So we've got farms for PP, POD, and Weheth, whether you're Stewie from Family Guy or not. They're coming out, and single-sided staking for all three of those is coming as well. We're going to be doing an HEX pool, single-sided staking for HEX,
Nice.
which is going to be nice. I think that's going to be a good one, man. Single-sided staking for HEX is going to be sick. And in terms of farms on the Ethereum side, we're also doing DBI, single-sided staking pool. If you guys don't know, DBI is Don't Buy a New, which is
the
by
dev.
the current dev. Yes, I had the pleasure of speaking to this guy a few times now.
Dude,
and the team behind him, I love their community, man. They've got a really thriving community. I think they're definitely one of the meme coins to watch for the next cycle. Those guys are working hard, man. They're working very, very hard. So we wanted to reward them guys, just for their hard work. So we're going to give their community a single-sided staking pool for 30 days, and they're going to have a farm on there. They'll probably have a farm permanently, I would imagine, if that community get involved.
That's really smart, because that dude gets like tens of thousands of views on Twitter. He does like short videos with the likes of CZ and other people who have, hundreds of thousands or millions
the
of
Kraken
followers.
CEO guy. Like all the big guys in crypto want to do videos with him. They're doing one with the Winklevoss twins, I think, as well. And
no way.
Yeah, they're everywhere,
this
man.
Guy's hilarious. He made like a short series where people were where his like trailer park friends were competing to be the next top dev or some shit, and they're all just like smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and like acting crazy. So
I feel like so if I was an American, I would be like one of those guys. Seriously, like that. That's me. Now I get on really well with their team. Yeah. Like I've got a good working relationship with those
good job.
Guys, and
that's awesome.
I was lucky to get in on that coin early as well, but that's not the reason that we've done it. I won't participate in any of it. Like I'll let you guys have the yield. You do what you're doing, right? I'm not in it for that. Like I do think though that those guys are onto a winning formula, and they'll probably do quite well in the in the bull market. But it's just because of the content that they put out. It's that dev character is so funny. Did you guys see the Richard Hart video he did? That's the one that got me. When he was talking about Richard Hart being like a snake oil salesman and shit like that. And
what?
Yeah, but it was like right at the beginning. It was like his second video or something like that. And I've kind of converted their team a little bit now. They understand that Richard Hart isn't a scammer. I think they were just like, they didn't know who he was. They just seen his outrage marketing and everything like that, and they just thought he was. I think I've converted them a little bit, but they've got their own thing going on, so I don't think that's too much of a big deal. But yeah, I'm really supportive of how they do their videos, and I think they're going to be a winner. So yeah, we wanted them in. On the Pulse chain side, of course, same things with PP, POD. They're all going to have farm single-sided staking. We're going to be doing single-sided staking for Pulse X as well, guys. So enjoy that. That'll be very tasty, man. A lot of people are holding Pulse X, don't really know what to do with it. Single-sided staking for Pulse X. Enjoy. That's on a limited time farm. So
when is that not expected?
Sometime tomorrow.
Cool.
We'll give you guys like a rough time when it will go live, but yeah, it'll be sometime tomorrow. We're also going to be doing an HEX P-Hex farm on Pulse Chain, which you can obviously earn yield on as well. There's a few others as well, which I'm not going to announce just yet. There's a couple of meme coins that we've chosen from the Pulse Chain community. It's literally just 2 at the moment that I think we're gonna run with. I'm saving this announcement for when we're about ready to do it, because I don't want my community going and FOMOing into coins that I don't necessarily want you to go and buy. It's just to bring their community over to us and encourage their liquidity and their volume over here. So yeah, the dev, mate, what a fucking legend. Do you know the story of how this guy met the film crew for this? They just bumped into him in Walmart, and they just thought he would be a good character. So
was he into crypto?
No. No, he wasn't in crypto at all. Apart from the fact that he developed Bitcoin, of course.
Of course, yeah. He's the dev for Bitcoin. He
developed Bitcoin and then went back to the workshop, and he's like a woodworker by trade or something like that. So, yeah, their production value is amazing. He's definitely a guy. At some point next year, I'm going to be coming over to America, guys. So I would love to meet all of you, as many people as possible. But at some point, I'm definitely going to stop off and do a video with these guys, because
yeah,
that would be so much fun, man. They are going to do a video for 9inch, because they obviously support 9inch. They love it, and I think we've got a video. I don't want to give it away, but they've got a little video they're going to do for it, so to help promote it to their community. So yeah, but that's what we're all about, man. We're just shaking hands with different people, different communities, different founders, different community members, things like that. That's all we want to do. We're as a platform, we're not competing with any of these guys. We're literally giving them an opportunity to get their community more rewards, which if they wanted to, they could just farm that BBC and then pump their own price with it. Nothing's stopping them doing it. But it's just one of that. All we want is volume, man. Buy and burn pressure off of our volume, because we have the same mechanics as Pulse X with the buy and burn. It's just the 1% no expectations fund on Pulse X goes to buy and burn in the BBC as well. So we've got that little bit of upwards buy pressure on the BBC also. If you go to the burn page on Pulse Chain right now, I'm just having a look. We've burned 257 million 9inch and like 600 BBC so far. So yeah, deflationary on the 9inch side. It was just under $1 trillion supply. So be interesting a year from now to see how much of that's actually been burned. Could be a crazy amount. You never know.
Yeah, that's what's up. What other questions do people have before we wrap up here?
That's single-sided ink, man. I'm super excited if that becomes a thing. Is that one that's happening tomorrow too, or is that just Pulse X?
No, Pulse X.
Yeah, the ink thing I think could be huge.
I hope Richard does it, man. I really do, because I mean, there's a few things with Pulse X that I think, and I'm not just saying this because I've got a kind of product like that myself. I think there's a few things on Pulse X that could be improved a lot. Yeah. And I hope that 9inch kind of gives Richard and his team a little bit of a kick up the ass to go and do it, because all the things that we're introducing here, none of it's revolutionary other than maybe the limit orders on Pulse Chain. It's all very simple stuff. And I think he's got a much bigger team than we've got, right? Like we've got an amazing set of devs, right? Don't get me wrong, but I'm sure Richard's gone and handpicked some of the best in the world to help him. This is like an afternoon's work for them to sort these problems out. So
right. I kind of wonder if, part of it's been things being put on pause because of the SEC stuff. And, I mean, obviously that's opened up a niche and an opportunity for guys like yourself, which is awesome that you're taking advantage of that and filling that void. So yeah, it'll be curious to see how things go in the future, but I can't imagine this not being incentive for those guys to like you said, to kick up the ass to get going on some updates.
I think you might be right there, Toby, but let's throw another angle on this. I don't know what percentage chance that is of being the truth. Here's another one, right? Long runway. First mover advantage, right? We have PulseX. You can argue that people have, right, that it doesn't have all the features, not as good as blah blah blah, right? that could be iterative and by design, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are tokenomics that occur based on some of these things not being available that are very
Yes.
strong for the community in
Game
different
theory.
phases, and, you know, different game theory, and maybe that's given too much credit. I don't know, but I could just see that this could be like this iterative process. Okay, you've got single-sided staking. Pulse X has single-sided staking, and it's got a twist, you know.
Yeah.
And there's less risk if you're not the first person to do something as well.
Well, and the desire to have everything be more decentralized, right? It's like, you know, he wants people to build on Pulse.
True.
So
that's another good point.
This is incentive for them that it gives them gaps to fill.
Yeah.
Whereas if Pulse X was crushing it and doing all this stuff already, then people would probably be less incentivized to go head to head with them. But since
9-inch definitely fills a void.
But
it says it on their homepage. Yeah, it's true.
That's awesome.
Fill a gaping hole in the market.
Yeah. But hey, I was talking about single-sided. I was talking about single-sided ink staking on your platform, like, you know, or single-sided.
Do you know what? That we never even thought of that. Actually, it never even came up. But that might be an interesting play. You know, it could well be because, or maybe an ink BBC pool. That'd be quite good as well.
Maybe, yeah, because I think people would chase the yield because it's like, you know, if you're looking at how the progression of things were with the farms on Pulse Chain, it's like, I forget what it was initially. It's like maybe 400% or something crazy, like with Pulse X and Ink and Pulse and Ink. And now those are down around 50%. You know, so I think people would be looking, you know, if there's yield better elsewhere, especially if it was single-sided, so they didn't have to worry about the sloshing back and forth part. It's like, you know, I think that they would definitely participate. I know I would personally.
I think also another thing that we need to look at in the future is just having like a pulse die pool or something like that. Because that will really thicken up the liquidity. Same with Ethereum, USDC or something like that. I think incentivizing a pool like that would be really smart, because then it makes it easier for other trades to go through because they can just route via that pair for other stuff. So
and then the limiters, everything works better that way. Yep.
But that's the thing, like this whole thing is, I mean, we've got game theory. We don't really know how it's going to work out specifically, but we can change things, man. We can change things anytime we want, just to move things around and get things, you know, find that perfect balance of stuff. And obviously I'm the front man for this project, but I'm not the brains behind it. Like, thank God, you know, but like there are some really smart guys on our team that Mr. Numpad himself, Kino, he's the lead dev. That guy's got a brain that I can't even comprehend. But
respect.
Boy, does he like to party though. He probably lost a few brain cells when I went and met him a few weeks ago. That was a good night, man. I don't remember much of it, but I know it was a good night.
I remember days like that when I was a younger man. But yeah, guys like that, it's like I know some super genius people, and they partied like harder than anybody. And it's like, dude, it's like you're probably burning as many brain cells as other friends of mine have, right? And you're still smarter than the rest of us. It's like, what the hell?
I feel like smart people need to drink more to get drunk. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
They've got more density in the brain or something.
That's like, a good theory. That's not how it
Matty, I've got to say again, you look fantastic in that Halloween outfit, man.
Hey, thank you. Yeah,
it looks that really. I loved it till we went live before you showed me as well, because that was like a really genuine.
Right.
The cold open, yeah.
It's key. That was good.
Really good.
Well, I've really enjoyed having you on, and we had you on before, or I guess that was just you and me for Hex Therapy like a year ago or something. So, wow, you've really built a lot here, and you know, there are so many people in the community that believe in you, and they've proven it on chain through sacrificing and through seeing what you've what you've built. So, well done. You know, congratulations on a huge launch. You're bringing tools to people that, you know, we had to our community that we haven't had before. And I think, you know, also your attitude and, you know, of promoting Hex, even when you didn't have a big bag of it yourself, and then building things. And now the brand that you've got and you know, this is the first meme DEX in the world, and it's up and running now. And so the next bull market, I think it could be something special. So yeah, thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you, man. Thank you for promoting everything that we got going on, man. Like, I don't think you guys get enough credit for like just the amount of sheer work that goes in. I know how hard it is to just like regularly stream, and I never even really did that. So you do like what, 3 streams a week? Do you something like that? Or
I do. I've done 2 a week. This is my 152nd week straight.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's some commitment, man. I remember we used to do the UK hangouts, and we've got a big group of like UK guys that would come on and off stream. And I'd say, right, guys, we're going to start doing the UK hangout at 9 p.m. every Wednesday. And it would last like 2 weeks. And I'd be like, oh, shit, I can't make it this week, guys. Or like a load of people would drop out or something like that. And then we wouldn't do one again for like 2 months. And then I'd be like, right, guys, this Thursday, first UK hangout in ages. Let's get amongst it. Do 3 weeks, and then it would all flop again. So yeah, it's a hell of a commitment, man. Especially you know.
Well, I want to thank these other 2 guys for showing up so regularly. Tobiwan, ChrispyMan, Brisology has also been a big part of the show, and then all the viewers, right? You all show up every week. Thousands on the replay. We have 245 watching live now. So shout out to the entire community for showing up. Happy birthday to Toby's dog and Poor Pleb and the Bitcoin white paper.
Yes.
That's such a coincidence, man, that Poor Pleb came out that day. It wasn't even a feature. It wasn't.
Wow. Mystical. Yeah.
Right. It's really weird. I didn't even know.
Didn't even know.
So it's the next Bitcoin, guys.
That's right, everybody. Yeah. And
Dude,
and of course, we added Poor Pleb to the Time Pays Me front end already. So you can send that to your future self.
Nice.
And go for it. Maybe to a future self that won't be as poor.
Right.
How great would it be if PP became the national, the like worldwide reserve currency somehow? Like, I'm just gonna send you some PP.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Yeah, that might be the world we're headed to, dude.
Hey, if meme coins keep growing, man, you know, this could be. I think Poor Pleb is the most unique meme coin that's ever existed, with its own story and its own narrative and the amazing artwork and the story alone of only giving it to the little guy and all of that shit. It's like, I remember when Gunther was like kicking off about it. We remember Gunther, right? He was kicking off so hard, like, oh well, if I don't get it for free, I'll never buy it. And I'm like, bro, you don't need it. You're a hex shark. You do not need free money. Okay. Like, but he kind of proved the point. He was the meme himself, literally. He was the meme of the angry guy who's like, oh, I hate this. All the poor plebs. Fuck them guys. He was the meme. Where's that guy gone, by the way? He just,
I don't know.
He just disappeared.
Yeah, he's licking his wounds.
I don't know if it was quite that bad.
Licking his wounds. Yeah.
Everything that guy's been involved is fucking zero, man. Like,
yeah, he's had a bad go. I think he had good intention, but man, this sure didn't work out, did it? But
I don't think he had good intentions, bro.
No. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know. You know, it's like
maybe at the very beginning. Maybe at the very beginning, but that soon changed. I don't know, man. Anyway, I'm not here to hate on people. I got way too much shit going on to be thinking about guys like that. So yeah.
Hey, I got a good thing. I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that now that we have limit orders on Pulse Chain, that the bottom is most definitely in, because it's like I think that helps stop volatility so much. Because people are less likely to panic sell. Like if they know that limit orders are available, which they are on 9inch.io, then they can set those if they're scared. Like it's almost like a stop loss, right? And then if it goes below their comfort level, then they're out, and then they don't like check it the next day, and it's down another 50% or whatever crazy shit that we've seen happen. So
what you're saying, Toby, is that not only was I the top signal, I'm now the bottom signal.
You are now the bottom signal. Right.
Love it. I'll take it.
It's good. Full circle.
I prefer that one. I prefer that one a lot.
Right? Yeah, totally. Fun being on with you guys as always. And Hexy, good to finally be on stream with you. Best of luck. Congratulations on what you've accomplished. Looking forward to seeing how it goes. And happy Halloween, everybody.
Why don't you guys tell people where to find you before we sign off here?
I'm easy. I'm on at Tobiwan _ Hexobi on. I'm easy. Yeah, kind of a little easy, but yeah, at Tobiwan _ Hexobi on X. Occasionally here every Tuesday night with Maddie and Crispy, and occasionally Briz and other wonderful guests like Hexy here. So yeah, thanks. Pleasure to be here as always.
Always a pleasure, Maddie. Thank you for the invite. Glad I could make it. Happy Halloween. And hexfire.io here on YouTube, hexfire.io, Twitter, hexfire.io, or come right to the site, hexfire.io.
And his Patreon. Check that out.
You can check out the Patreon too. Website coming soon, man. Working hard on that, sort of.
All right.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Getting there.
Pleasure to meet you, Tobiwan. Pleasure to meet you, ChrispyMan. HEX. I've just followed you on Twitter, by the way. I didn't realize I wasn't following you. So, yeah. Hexy Bastard, 9inch.io. That's it. Thank you, Matty, for having me on, inviting me on. I really appreciate it. And again, that disguise is that Halloween costume is excellent. I hope you wear it on a night out tonight or whatever you're doing with yourself.
All right. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
That was awesome.